Yo, what's up? What's up? Hey, Michael, what's up, man? How's it going? Welcome back. Some updates, some improvements. We've got I updated the YouTube thumbnails. I'm all right, man. Another day working on the stream setup and kind of doing some research. But for today, I wanted to try out I got Monstercat set up and the chill hop music. So I think I already have a feeling that chill hop is going to be the go-to music for this channel until we get better. Once we like really know what we're doing, then maybe there could be more like Monstercat. And I checked out Monstercat. They do have some sort of lo-fi music. But like the higher energy stuff, I already know that if we play that, it's gonna be too much to like try and edit with the super high energy music. But we don't deserve Monstercat. Yeah, we're not at that level where we can just like jam out and create stuff. I mean, maybe it's coming up sooner than later. Oh yeah, and then there was another thing that happened, which was weird, that I'm gonna try and figure out or fix for this stream, which is that yesterday's fusion comp got erased. I have no idea why or how. I have a suspicion about it. Pretty weird though. I think because we were working like inside of. We hop into this one. We were working in this. And it's just not there. I don't know. I don't know what happened. Where'd it go? Where is it? Where'd the comp go? Gone. Load? Yeah. So that's kind of weird. I actually wanted to go in here to try and figure out how to export the fusion comp. There's one thing that I want to do during these is maybe near the end, like if we're making cool stuff, I want to render it and then use it as a post to get, for advertisement, get people in here, But if it, so I don't even know how to do that. Maybe we could start there. Is it not showing any of my comps? It's not showing any of my comps? No, okay. So I think from the renderer, we go, not the renderer. I think I messed up yesterday. Like, this should show. Okay, this is some critical stuff. I gotta figure out how to link it to media out. Aha. Oh, right. Thanks. You're a lifesaver. You're a stream saver. Here we go. Okay. But we have it here. Because I think yesterday I must have like just gone straight into the fusion page with no composition or something. No, but even then, whatever. But if it's linked to media out, then you can deliver it. You just do deliver. And if there's no media in, I don't know. Hard to tell. But then you can just go through, because remember, I don't know if you remember this, but at the end of last episode, I was trying to export it real quick. I was like, here, let me see. And then it wasn't really showing up on this screen properly. So I think something was wacky. But either way, this is pretty clear. Like if it's hooked up, you load the media and then you launch into the Fusion from here. And then you set it to a media out node. You're going to be able to export it straightforward like usual. So we'll do that today. Hopefully, we'll try and do that. And then let's see, start a new project again. Is there anything else? Yeah, actually, but that made me think that that it's okay. It's okay we lost that, even though it's cool. Because we don't want to get too tied to like these things at this point, right? Because we're just like 1 week into this. So we're gonna be making a lot cooler stuff quickly. So you don't want to get like tied to certain style, right? Because it was cool. And it was cool because it was like so I don't know. It just like came out of the stream, but I did take a screenshot of it though. I took a screenshot of the nodes and the just an image of the output. So we have that. Oh, plus it's recorded. It's on the archive YouTube. Then I updated the Twitch and the logo. Just some things. 2 times better. That's okay. Yeah. All right. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Setting the bar. Setting the bar. Okay. Let's see. For today. Oh. And the other idea I had for the stream was having this up. So like while we're streaming, if there's like a little an idea is to just like remind us that there's some, it makes sense to make the overlays during the streams. You know what I mean? Like the motion graphics that make the stream better. It would make sense for us to do this while we're learning about Fusion. That's kind of the whole point, right? So an idea I had was like to have quests or, you know, like I don't know, just something to keep in mind. If we stumble on something, it's like, oh, let's use that for the motion graphics. It might be better to, but yeah, so the first thing though is like we're just trying to discover what some cool visual. And then after we kind of find the cool visual, we sit on it for a day, and then we can make a whole bunch of them. Yeah, I think that's a cool. Adding another bird to hit with our stone. So let's bring this up. And we were at 1385. Oh yeah, we kind of paused halfway in this. I realized it was because we hit like such a high mark. I was like, all right, let's just. And then we tried to do a little more, and I was like, so let's just see. We got gradient color bars. Yeah, talking about the inspector, different gradients, like normal gradients, you know. You got the whole variety here. Works how gradients usually work. There's the gradient colors bar. Let me make this a little larger. And I'm gonna also make this back to so there's the gradient colors bar, and then the gradient colors bar is used to select the blending colors for the gradient. The default 2 colors stops set the start and end colors. And you can change the colors used in the gradient by selecting the color stop and then using the eyedropper or color wheel to set the new color. Let's see, we had some media from before that's just chilling. We had this one. Let's get I think we want to make our own, but maybe we'll just end up using this as an element. Just experimenting, right? We're in the discovery mode. Look discovery. And let's see, we got this doesn't need to be. Oh, wait, let me not do this. Let me do it this way, just to be careful. That's probably what I did yesterday, just working on the media source. We got color stops. You can add stuff to gradients. To demonstrate this, here we go. Solid color to gradient. Add a color stop just like that. Make it a cool one. Click that. We're doing color work. Let's turn off the eye saver mode on my computer, on my display. I don't know, just making some gradients. What is this one? Can I copy it? Copy that. Put that in here. That's kind of cool. If we rotate it, can we rotate a gradient? Yeah, you just, now it looks like a horizon line. Like the ocean. Looks like we're in the ocean. Straighten that out. What is the thing? Cool. All right. And then we've got the interpolation space. And you know what? Let's do the thing we did yesterday. We just kind of like started it off over here. This is a merge. Add that up here. Oh, I already have an idea. No, let's start reading this though. Interpolation space. The gradient interpolation method pop-up menu lets you select the color space. It lets you select what color space is used to calculate the colors between color stops, and then the interpolation. I don't know what these are about, and that's okay. HLS, well, RGB is red, green, blue. HLS is hue, lightness, saturation, or something like that. All right, whatever. That's Photoshop stuff. If you're familiar with Photoshop, yeah. Hue, luminosity, saturation, yeah. Sounds right. Yes, I think so. But that's more, whatever. Buttons are over here. You know what those do. Whatever. And then you can do what's 1 by 1 subpixel. These buttons control the amount of subpixel precision used when the edges of the gradient become visible in repeat mode. or when the gradient is animated. So higher settings will take significantly longer to render, but will be more precise. So can we get, well, no, this is the gradient here. Can we get an example of that? I don't know. So I guess higher the subpixel, the more 5 by 5 subpixel. I think that literally means like if you're in a, like 5 times, it calculates 5 times the resolution. It's kind of like, what's it called? In 3D sampling, subsampling. I think so. But let me I want to reread that one more time. So subpixel precision used when the edges of the gradient become visible in repeat mode. So if you're using repeat mode and it's off the edge, then to get better gradient, you just, okay, so if you're doing this, repeat, whatever. It's there. There's options. Modifiers. Modifiers are expressions, calculations, trackers, paths, and or mathematical components that you attach to a parameter to extend its functionality. When a modifier is attached to a parameter, its controls will... Oh, I also turned up the microphone because I saw the audio looked like it was too low on the recording. Modifiers. So modifiers. These are things to consider and to look at here. So when a modifier is attached to a parameter, its controls will appear. Yeah, it's better? Okay, sweet. Thanks. It will appear separately in the inspector modifiers. Inspector modifiers tab. So for example, oh, it's shorter, really? Huh. I don't know why. I don't think I did anything to make that quicker, but that's cool. Maybe I'm just like, oh yeah. I mean, maybe it's on. I don't know. Ooh. That's good to know, though. So to attach a modifier, you right-click over the parameter to which you want to attach a modifier. Oh, so on the thing. Can it be over? Yeah, so it can be like anywhere. What about here? Okay, on the name too. Not actually on the number. They right-click. Oh, perturb. Okay, that's where perturb is. And then you do any of these, right? What's it say? Animating parameters. Fusion can keyframe most parameters in most nodes. In order to, this is actually getting into the cool stuff, I think. In order to create animated effects such as animated transforms, rotoscoping with splines, I think it's splines, dynamically altering warping behaviors, and so on, the list is endless. You can create animated effects for all those, all that good stuff. The list is endless. For convenience, a set of keyframing controls are available within the inspector next to each keyframeable parameter. These controls are a gray keyframe button to the right, each keyframeable parameter, and then clicking this gray button creates a keyframe at the current position. Yeah, oh, so they're actually talking about just, you can keyframe just the normal way. Press this thing, and then you can move it on the timeline, and then press it again. Or let's see if there's a parameter we could. Yeah, let's actually try and. That might look cool if this just goes up and down. We can go to the start here, keyframe it there, and then have it go up. Oops, nope. And then we could we could go over here. We could go to frame 60, and then we just move it. It's auto keyframing. Then we go to 120, and it could go back to where it was before, which I don't remember exactly which one it was. Where it was. Why is that linear like that? Huh. I'm thinking if we put this here, oh, we could put that in like that. Okay. But frame 60, it's this thing is at here. And then at here, should go back. Okay. So let's watch. Does it work? Is that the right amount though? Is that going? Copy that, paste it here. Okay. Select them all, press S. That's cool. Very relaxing. I don't know why it's going straight up though. I expected this one to be back. I don't know. Huh. You know what I mean? I thought like for this parameter, so for that parameter, you know, we're probably going straight into some obscure stuff by keyframing just like this extra stop on this gradient. Is that like a habit of doing like weird obscure thing that breaks it like at first? It's kind of cool though. I'm already kind of seeing some possible effect forming where that could be like a, you know, if my screen was over this, that's a pretty relaxing thing. I don't know if those words made sense together. If I just said anything right there, but I don't know. Looks pretty chill. Looks pretty cool. But let's see. Let's bring it back to the recenter ourselves with the manual here. When you add a keyframe to a parameter, moving to a new frame and changing the parameter will automatically add a keyframe at the current position. Whenever the playhead is sitting right on top of a keyframe, this button turns orange. Okay. Thought that was red. Okay. I guess that's orange. Clicking an orange keyframe button. Doesn't that look red? That looks red to me. I don't know about that. Yeah, it looks very much red. All right. I'm glad. Okay, we're both seeing that. So clicking an orange keyframe button deletes the keyframe at the current frame. Goes back to gray. And then whenever small navigation arrows appear to the right and left, if there are more keyframes, you can navigate around as we were demonstrating before. And then once you've keyframed one or more parameters, if show mode/options has been disabled, the node containing the parameters you keyframed displays a keyframe badge. Oh, okay. So that will pop up if it's not showing, if it's set to not show mode slash, yeah, that, yes. To show that node has been animated. All right, so once you've started keyframing node parameters, you can edit their timing in the keyframes editor and spline editor here. That's how you make them look good. And then after you get the general blocking of how you want the thing to go. And then in the Davinci Resolve reference manual or chapter 9 in the Fusion reference manual, if you want to look into animating, want to look into that some more. And then removing animation from a parameter, same deal, right? To remove it, you can right click and choose remove node name parameter from the context. To remove all the keyframes from the parameter. Actually, wait, that's something else. To remove all the keyframes from the parameter, let's do that. Let's right click. What was it? Right click and choose remove. Remove. Right click over the name of the keyframed parameter. Oh, in the inspector. Oops. And then remove. And then choose remove node name parameter. Oh, so there we go. But I kind of like it. Let's keep it. Might turn into something. And choose remove. Okay. Tip: if you change the default spline type from Bezier, the context menu will display the name of the current spline type. Okay. And attaching a parameter to an existing animation curve. So multiple parameters can be connected to the same animation curve. That's actually cool. I didn't know that. This can be an invaluable time saver if you are identically animating different parameters in a node. So to connect a second parameter to the animation curve, oh, this is going to be a good example. You can right click on the second parameter you want to attach, and then in the context menu, hover over the connect to submenu. And then in the connect to submenu, choose the name of the animated parameter. Let's see if we can get that with let's see if we can get that going with this one. We right click. No, I think this is we're screwing everything up by trying to animate the gradient. I think it's gonna break everything. Wait. Okay, let's start a new thing. What should we animate? Let's see. Let's start playing around with text. Yeah. We got a text here. We gotta start testing out some looks. Tracking. We're gonna go with that text, and we're gonna do bold italic, make it bigger. And so now let's nah. What would be cool? I don't know. Let's just start playing around here. And let's do a simple tracking thing first. Do here, then we can do it to here. We'll just make a real subtle change in tracking, make it. And then for the sake of connecting the things, let's see, if I right click here, connect to text 1. Oh, okay, but that doesn't work because the numbers aren't normalized here. So so let's try and do that again with the line spacing. No, that's not going to do anything. The what can we do? Can we connect the R, the red? No. Would be cool. Oh, that's a whole nother thing, is figuring out how to normalize it. Like figuring out how to connect this to this. But to demonstrate the concept, right? We can move forward. Let's just connect the line spacing, the character spacing. And put the name twice. And then we should see, oops. I think you can do it with an expression, but I have no idea how that would look. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's in this, yeah, that's where I think it is too, but what if we do, here, let's start adding more nodes. Repeater. Oh. What am I thinking? I'm trying to do, because we kind of have a thing here, if you've ever seen it. I mean, it might be easier to just like do that. And let's keep going. Not get tied up this early. We'll just keep moving along. And then attaching a parameter to an existing animation curve, same thing. Yeah, so if the animation curves have the same animation to them, or they're the same number, same type of number, they can tie together very easily. Just right click it, connect to character spacing. If not, I believe you're right, Michael. I think it's just going to be a expression. I think a lot of it is expression. I think that's what we end up just using the most often. And then connecting parameters. It is often useful to connect two parameters together even without an animation curve. There are two methods. This is what we were talking about, right? So if you want to tie two parameters together, so adjusting one adjusts the other, you must connect them together using the publish menu command on the first parameter and the connect menu command on the second. Okay, I think we should stop, or I should stop ideating right when we start reading the section about how to do it. This has happened a few times where it's like, there's no way, and we'll probably never figure out. And then it's like, oh, the next sentence explains it very explicitly. So if this one, they're saying, okay, so we wanted to maybe make this larger. If we do publish, was that it? You say, publish. Let's grayed out. So to publish and connect parameters, right click the name of the parameter you want to publish and choose the publish from the context menu. Right click on the second parameter you want to attach. and choose the name of the parameter you just published from the Connect To menu. So that's a little different, right? If we just do publish. Oh, so publish is putting it onto the spline editor. And then since it's on the spline editor, we can connect it. We can now connect to with it. Oh, okay. So if it, because, all right. So that's actually pretty simple. If this wasn't, if you don't have this animated and you want to set it up, then you want to go here and publish. And then it will show up. So then you can connect it. The H anchor, this one together. So publish is just a way to like you expose the attribute, and then you can connect to it. That's probably more for just setting these things up. And then we've got connecting parameters by pick whipping. You can also use simple expressions to link two parameters together. By using simple expressions via pick whipping, values can be connected and combined visually without the need to publish a value first. The pick whip is a temporary line drawn from one parameter to another in order to create a link between the two. And then to link two parameters using a pick whip, you double click the field of a parameter you want to pick whip to another parameter, type equal, and then press the return key. What? Double click the field of the parameter. Oh. And then it comes up, and then you can and then now adjust, and then when pick whip controls appear underneath the parameter, drag a whip from the add button to the target parameter. Now adjusting the target parameter automatically adjusts the original parameter. Okay. And then tip, disabling the auto control close nodes general preference, and then selecting two nodes in the node editor will allow you to pick whip two parameters from different nodes. I think what? Disabling the auto control close nodes general preference. So inside of general preferences, turning off auto control close, and then you select two nodes. That will, so they're just saying like, instead of, you have two nodes here, and you want them both open, instead of having to do the pin, you can just go into the preferences and controls general automatically. I think that's what they're saying. Control panel. Or is it going to be inside of here? Fusion settings, general, auto close. I think we're close. Oh. I believe that's what they're saying, that it makes it easier if you're doing that a lot to just close these or to turn off auto close. Actually, I want to check this. I want to try and find this because I think that's where we'll find. I was having that little difference, the discrepancy yesterday with like how when I click this, sometimes it doesn't open up. So I think it was in general they're saying disabling node's general preference. General proxy usability, node's general preference. Nodes, settings. Edit controls. Mm, all right, moving on. Keep it going. The expression field can further be used to add mathematical formulas to the value received from the target parameter. For more information on pick whipping, oh, I did that. My bad. 1380. So I think we're at like 1390. All right. Oh, so if it's this, I got to be careful not to click the italicized stuff here. So for more information on pick whipping and expressions, you can go to chapter 74. Using oh wait, no. Okay, so that's we're gonna get to that. That's coming up. That's in the series. We'll cover that. Yeah. Yeah, we're in chapter 70 now, so that will come up later. And then context menus. There are two types of context menus you can invoke within the inspector. Node context menus. To display the node context menu from the inspector, right-click on the inspector header. The node's context menu includes the same menu options that are accessed by right-clicking on a node in the node editor. See the working in node editor, which we read, and then in the Davinci Resolve reference manual, or chapter 5, the Fusion reference manual. So node context menus, yeah. So click the thing and it shows up. Parameter context. Click the thing and parameters come up. Customizing node parameters with user controls. The user interface for each node in Fusion is designed to provide access to the parameters in a logical manner. Sometimes, though, you may want to add, hide, or change the controls. This is commonly done for simple expressions and macros, but it can be done for usability and aesthetic reasons. For favorites and presets, user custom controls can be added or edited via the Edit Control dialog. Right-click the name of the node in the inspector in the header bar and choose Edit Control from the context menu. Right, so you right-click the name of the node in the inspector, and then you can go to Edit Controls. Whoa. Huh. What did I just do? I think it was in the background. That added another thing here, didn't it? User. I think user. Edit controls. User. Where did that? What did I do? What have I done? All right. So you can customize node parameters with user controls, and user custom controls can be added or edited via the edit dialog, and then right-click the name of the node in the inspector and choose edit control from the context menu. A new window will appear titled edit control. And then in the input attributes, you can select an existing control or create a new one, name it, define the type, and assign it a tab. In the type attributes, you define the input controls, the defaults and ranges, and whether it has an on-screen preview control. And then the input control attributes box contains settings specific to the selected node control. And then the view control attributes box contains settings for the preview. And then all changes made using user controls are stored in the node instance itself. And then so they can be copy pasted, saved to a setting, added to bins, or added to your favorites. I still don't totally get what that's about. You can have your own you can make your own controls here, I think. And when they're up, then what? How would you use this? So an example of customizing directional blur. I just did the thing where I was like, we just have to keep reading a little bit here. I just did the thing again. So here's an example of customizing directional blur. In the following example, let's suppose we wanted to create a more intuitive way of controlling a linear blur than using the length and angle sliders independently. Oh boy, we're getting into it. Here we go, into the weeds. We could use the center input control. So using the center input control along with its preview controls to set an angle and distance from directly within the viewer using expressions. Right-click the label for the length parameter. Choose expression from the context menu and then paste the following expression into the expression field that appears. Okay, let's try it. What is this? Customize directional blur. Let's try it on here. So motion blur. Motion blur. And then we have, oh, the text is stickied here. Okay, that's why. And then we have the X and Y. Is it in the settings? Directional blur. Directional blur, that's why. Okay, cool. Now we're on it. Let's see. So we get the right-click the label for the length parameter. Right-click the label. And then we do expression. Is that what they said? Right-click the label for the length parameter, choose expression from the context menu, and then paste the following expression into the expression field that appears. Okay. And then next, right-click the label for the angle parameter. Choose expression from the context menu, and then paste the following. Okay. And now the directional blur is controlled by the center's position. So let's add this. We do have a negative square root, the center. Oh yeah, I know. Okay, so the center, it ends with divide by pi. Oh man. Oh, and then this is a tan. Oh my goodness, the math. The math, it hurts. It hurts. My brain. But why doesn't this work? If only we could matrix this. Why doesn't this work? Center. Let's see, if we pop this off, let's get this up on the main screen. And then let's try directional blur again. Nope, we don't want it. Yeah, we want it in there. And so if we add, let's just try that again. I think it's something about this. Maybe I copied it incorrectly, but if I go here, right click the label for the length expression, bada bing, and then it's red. So I think something about that expression is not working. Bummer. Oh. No, that's all. That's the whole expression, isn't it? Choose expression from the context menu and then paste the following. Dang. Doesn't work. Expression. Boom. No, something about the length, right? No, this doesn't make sense. The more... What if we do like 0.3 plus... Aw, I was trying to be clever. Because I think right now the amount is at 0. Ah, dang it. Another one. Another one. The function, this function's fine. But the controls are confusing. The center control doesn't work as the center anymore. Oh yeah. And it should be named blur vector instead. The controls for the length and angle aren't meant to be edited. So they should be hidden away. And we're only doing a linear blur. So we don't need the button for radial or zoom. We just need to choose between linear and centered. Something about this breaks though. But for the sake of this section, what they're explaining is like, after that works perfectly, you'd be able to move it with the center. And like, depending on where it was, would change the intensity of the blur and it would move to that direction. It would have been it would have been super cool, but for the sake of explanation, it's saying like, you'd want to then hide this stuff away so that this could work as intended without the extra stuff. So you get rid of this stuff somehow. But adding another control. For the first task, let's rename the center. Okay, we'll just continue this even though it didn't work for us. From center, from the add control window, select center. I want this to work though. Select center from the ID list. A dialog will appear asking if you want to replace, hide, or change ID. We'll choose replace, and then now we are editing the center input. Bruh. Oh, because we took off the expressions. I was like, oh, it's working. So how do we remove, okay, remove expression. And then same with this, remove expression. Oh, bummer. And then we've got, okay, let's get through this. Hopefully you're still with me in terms of just the theory of this, because the demonstration stuff is getting a little bumpy at this section. But let's see, we'll choose replace. Now we are editing the center input, talking about expressions and connecting them together with those the maths. And then this is about, like, after you set that up, adding in controls or removing things from, or adding your control. After you set up the expressions, you want to just expose certain parameters with controls. And then we'll change the name to blur vector, set the type to point, and the page to controls, which is the first tab where the controls are normally, and then press OK, and our new input will appear on our node in the node editor. The ID of the control is still center, so our simple expressions did not change. To hide the length and angle, we'll run the user controls script again. This time, when we select the length and angle IDs, we'll choose hide in the dialog. Press OK for each. Finally, to change the options available in the type, we have two options. We can hide the buttons and use a checkbox instead, or we can change the multi-button from 4 entries to 2. Let's try both. To add the checkbox, dang, this is something, I'm just going to make a note of this that we'll probably have to loop back at some point about, so we can kind of figure this out. Custom parameters and controls on page 139. I know this stuff is going to be key, but we might just kind of make sense of it when we get into messing around. But yeah, so this is all about changing the controls to your specific needs. And with that, I'm going to, let's take our 5-minute break, regroup, and then come back to animating in Fusion's keyframe editor. BRB. I want to see if I can get the music I was talking about playing in the background. Okay. We might go straight to Monstercat. I don't know how to get the other one playing. The other one was Chill Hop. Okay, wait. Chill Hop, and then I open it up on YouTube Music. I played through YouTube. Okay, and then, but you can't hear it yet. Let me turn this down. And inside of OBS. Oh, you can hear that, right? Oh, sweet. Okay, cool. All right, and I don't have the little thing, the overlay that says what song it is, though. Does that matter? No, it doesn't matter. Does it? Okay, I think if it's real low in the background, that's nice. Doesn't really matter. I set up the, what is it? The Monstercat one is pretty cool. It does have like the media player on the side over here. It'd be like over here or something. All right. A little ambient music in the background. Maybe that will help us connect the signals in our brains so we can figure out how to do expressions and go big brain mode again. But this stuff's pretty hard. Chapter 71, Animating in Fusion's Keyframe Editor. So this chapter covers how you can keyframe effects in Fusion's inspector and how you can edit clips, effects, and keyframes in the keyframe editor. So before we get started, let's see. Let's go to effects here. Let's see if there's some cool thing that we can overlay on this. A zoom blur, mosaic blur. A zoom blur, that's actually what we were trying to, I think we were trying to set that up. Like that's literally the effect we were trying to get to work that we were struggling with. If we turn that up, should, oh, it's not. This is, I think this was pretty much the effect we were trying to get to work manually. Yeah, and it's even set up. Huh, okay. It's set up the way that they were trying to explain it as well. So that's serendipitous, I guess. This is the effect they were trying to explain how to do. So that connects that. And then we have most parameters in most effects nodes can be keyframed in order to create animated effects such as animated transforms, rotoscoping with spleens, dynamically altering warping behaviors, and more. The list is endless. For convenience, a set of keyframing controls is available within the inspector next to each keyframable parameter. These controls are a gray keyframe button to the right, each keyframable parameter. Yes, okay. So for example, we can go to the start here, press this, and have it there, and then go forward and have it go across. And then that's the animation. Not much to it. And let's see, if we move this one, if we select that one, we could get it to, we could adjust it to the end that we had for the in and out. So not much happening there. But let's what I'm trying to do here is again, try and find something that I can have like a real subtle overlay or this would be an underlay. So if you see my camera here, if I put like something beneath it that's like real subtle, but it looks cool, that's what I'm trying to do here. But now I want to make it loop. So if we have this thing at, this is at 90, so we just go to 180, and we have, bring it back down to 0, not 0. We bring this back down to 0.5, right? Okay, all right, there we go. And let's make this linear. Actually might look cool. So I think this actually would be better if it was really long. And we can, what was it? Anim curves, animation. Is that a node? Anim curves? Curves as a way to like animate, to change these. No, is it in here? Is it this? Time stretch. Okay, no, that is what I'm trying to. Now we can adjust it. We basically want this just to be pretty long. This can go to like, I'm looking up here. This can go to 400. Oh, it's the same thing. It's here. This would probably make more sense to do it too. And then in and out can be, it's going to be real subtle. Oops. And then just to, let's test it. Let's see what this looks like. We want, this is actually going to be kind of cool, I think. But I'm a little confused with how to find where frame 400 is. And there's another issue that I'm seeing before rendering, which is that there's an animation in the background that's changing, so it's not going to loop. It's not going to loop perfectly. So, but for the sake of just showing what I'm trying to get at here, you said you get anim curves if you right click on the keyframe. So if we export here, let's see, stream underlay V1. You want to find frame 400, go into Fusion and go to frame 400 and then go back out. Ah, okay. Oh. You go type it in here, 400. Then we come out. Ah. Nice. That's like a crucial that's a crucial tip right there. And then from here we can export it. Then we'll put it into our folder. We're gonna have to clean up that folder at some point, but not right now. And then let's export this. As a MP4, whatever, that's all good. 1920 by 1080 might be too big or not necessary. But okay, just render it so I can show the example. We can see how it looks. So now that that's rendered, I'm going to set this up. Is it an image or video source? I think it's a VLC video source I want. That plays better, I think. Video, I think it's let's see. Underlay test 1. Okay. Let me add this in. Video, window capture, media source. There we go. Okay, cool. Underlay v1 file is on folder there. Cool. And then it's looping. And see what that looks like. Oh! Ah! I think it looked like this was. And then put the camera on top. Oh, that brings up another thing, which is making just the like my camera display a little better. But that's something I'll do off screen. That's the idea, right? We can keep moving here though. That's probably too much, actually. That'd be real subtle. All right, whatever. You get where I'm going with that. Let's keep moving. And then what would be another one? I think we could probably also make a background or a be right back screen, right? That's another one. Let's see if we import, or should we just try to make something with this same media source? Or this. Let's use this and add a text in here. The 3D text. Oh, I saw something like that. Okay, so merge camera 3D and a merge 3D. Text, be right back. And then put this on a 3D plane. That in. And the camera. Oops. Camera 3D. Because we're not doing the renderer node. Renderer 3D. Did I mess this structure up again? I think I did. This is. Oh. now. Oh. Move the camera back. Okay, if we go back to views, or let's go to the merge. The camera. Oh yeah, that's all it is. It's the text is in the wrong place. And I think the text is really big. And then rotation. Maybe we could let's animate. Oh, we can animate this. We could have it go up and then a little down. And then make these splines and then also have it repeating or looping ping pong. Yeah. Oh, that's way too much. That's still way too much and it's way too fast. Let's put it way out here. Oh, oh, it's tilting. Oh, is it? Okay, maybe we have to be more scientific with this. Oh, that's why. It's still kind of like too fast, actually, and too much. So if we go there. It makes sense for this to go to -2 and then for it to go back to 1. Or this should be at -2. It's still too fast though. Like we want it like really much longer. And then where is this on the timeline? That's what frame it's on, right? No. Where do you see up here? Oh, up here? Yeah. Oh, so for whatever reason we started on frame 374. So that's really making this kind of hard to figure out. Making it hard for ourselves. Oh, wait. So it's 374. And then we could say this is 474. And then we know we just subtract 50. That's in the middle. Oh, there we go. Oh, I'm just moving the thing. Sorry. All right. 424. Making this real difficult for ourselves here, but we got it. Bringing it home, bro. Got it. Now, if we check out the camera, okay, wait. We didn't need that camera anyways. let's bring a new camera in. Okay. And then we can make this text smaller. And that's kind of pretty chill, right? We've got the camera, the be right back text, and we could make it a better I'm kind of surprised. I thought there would be more options in the text 3D. I need to look up. That's something I'm probably going to check on YouTube later, is how to just make cool fonts. Oh, actually, what we could do is just use go to the effects again. That's actually what that's what the manual was suggesting anyways. We go to templates, and then we can go to Fusion and bring in some text from here. Shading, 3D follower. Text. Or we can add, like, we add these? Carbon fiber, brick. I want carbon fiber. We just add it in like that. So, I don't think so. Let's just put this here. So here's the material. How do we connect the material to the text? Go to shading, shading material. That is beyond my knowledge. Yeah. I think the music in the background is making me chill though. I feel a lot more chill in this past hour, even though we haven't found it yet. But I'm afraid we're getting away from the manual. Let's bring it back to the manual. It's not all about the manual. These little side adventures, that's what it's about. But we don't really know how to use it yet. So let's continue here. Once you've keyframed one or more parameters, if show modes/options has been enabled, the node containing the parameters you keyframed display a keyframe badge to show that the node has been animated. Yeah, earlier we went over that. And then once you've started keyframing node parameters, you can edit their timing in the keyframes editor and or spline editor. So to remove a keyframe spline from a parameter, right click. Did we not go over this, or no, this is new. This is new stuff. It's just similar with the previous section. Sometimes this is repeated because fundamental stuff about each section. So you can remove it. You can attach a parameter to an existing animation curve. We were talking about that before. That also works inside of in the keyframe editor. So specifically in here. Nope, sorry, in here. Let's close the spline so we're just super clear. So keyframing in the inspector, yeah. Removing, you can remove stuff, and then attaching parameters to connect a second parameter to the same animation curve. Right click on the second parameter you want to attach in the context menu, hover over the connect to submenu, similar as before. Yeah, so keyframe editor is essentially a timeline view of your composition within which each clip and effect node in your composition is represented by a track. These tracks have the same color coding as the nodes they represent and are labeled where appropriate. A time ruler at the top indicates the timing of your composition, while numerous controls let you control the contents of the keyframe editor. And then the keyframes editor can be used for one of two things. To adjust the timing of elements in a project, whether they're clips or effects, you can trim, slide, and extend clips, adjust the timing of an animation spline, or trim the duration of an effects node. You can freely rearrange the You can freely rearrange the order of nodes in the timeline without affecting the layering order of your composition. All compositing operations are handled in the node editor, while the keyframes editor manages the timing of your composition. So all compositing operations are handled in the node editor. So in here. And then while the keyframe editor, this thing, manages the timings of your composition. Honestly, I feel like, okay, I feel like I could work in the spline editor the whole time. Like, I'm pretty comfortable in the spline editor. But anyways, to create and or edit keyframes that you've applied, wait, what was that? Yes, while keyframes editor manages the timing of the composition. So to create and or edit keyframes that you've applied to effects in a track-based manner, you can retime keyframes, add and delete keyframes, and even edit keyframe values. All right, so that's the idea for the keyframes. I'll take their word for it. Sounds like you want to go from the node. The nodes are basically always there. That's what the fusion's about. And then you want to time stuff with keyframes, but then refine it and like add the motion or the style with the splines. And then to show the keyframes editor, you can press F7 on your keyboard, or just press the button up here. And then keyframes editor tracks. So while each clip and effect node in your composition is represented by a track, keyframed parameters are exposed either as keyframes superimposed upon the track to which they're applied, as seen on the movement track. Honestly, this is kind of tough to, like, for me, this is hard to see that there's anything happening in here. But I take their design decisions. It's black magic. This software looks pretty sweet, so they probably know what they're doing. But you know, it's hard to see this, in my opinion. But that's the point, actually. It's just supposed to be for timing the whole chunk of it, maybe. You're not supposed to actually like look at the exact. Okay, wait, no, I think some things are connecting in my brain right now. I think. And then keyframed parameters are exposed either as keyframes superimposed upon the track to which they're applied, as seen in the movement track, or they can be opened up onto their own tracks for more precise editing. Okay. One keyframe track per keyframed parameter by clicking a disclosure control to the left of that track's name in the timeline header, as seen in the drip 1. Yeah, you drop down menu. And then timeline header So the timeline header area on the left side of the timeline is a hierarchical list of all tracks in a composition. Each track displays the name of the corresponding node, a lock button, and a disclosure control for revealing keyframe stacks for each keyframe animation, modifier, and mask that's attached. That it's attached to. Collapse, open all. A quick way you can just open them all. And then the playhead, as elsewhere in Fusion, the playhead is a red. They call it red this time. That's the same color as before. We should we could let them know. Be like, hey, you called it orange before. You should fix that. So the red vertical bar that runs through the timeline view to indicate the position of the current keyframe or time. The keyframes editor playhead is locked to the viewer playhead, so the image you're viewing is in sync. Yeah. Oops. Yeah, the broken expression, that was a bummer. But it was so cool how we actually found, we ended up getting straight to, that is what this was. This is about we were trying to make this, so we'll just pretend like it worked. Yay, we did it! Not even showing right now. Oh, because we're on frame 5000. If it had worked, this is what we would have ended up with. I could tell by the math. Yeah, so this timeline in here. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, now we're looking at it. All right, cool. And we see stuff. And why is this one? It's kind of weird that I can't see the bottom one. But anyways, here it is. And when you scroll around, it's connected with the timeline up here, they're saying, as seen. And wait, if they wanted to, they were saying, oh, you could double click it, or you could just have one up somehow, or whatever. And then additionally, yeah, you can jump the playhead back and forth, and then the spreadsheet. Oh yeah, I did check this out. This is cool. I think I do want to use this. I want to explore with it, like play around with this in the future, which is a spreadsheet. So if you turn on spreadsheet and then click on the name of a layer in the keyframe track. We could have been using the spreadsheet before when we were struggling with that stuff. So you open the spreadsheet, and then the numeric time, position, and value, or values of its, if it's a multi-dimensional parameter, of each keyframe appear as entries in the cells of the spreadsheet. Each column represents one keyframe, while each row represents a single aspect of each keyframe. So that was a lot of words, but we just select this, and then we open the keyframe. I have to select them. Oh, there we go. Okay, so now it's selected. These are the keyframes. And now before, you can see that the yeah. So like that's a, so the way I was struggling before, it would have been easier just to open this up and adjust it, because I was trying to go, you know, I was trying to make this even with this one being in the middle. It made it more complicated because I started on a weird frame of 370, but halfway through was 50, right? But so that's the spreadsheet. Same with this. Yeah. Give it a little more space. Close the spline. Yeah, so I think this can be really useful. And that makes sense in the workflow sense of things, right? It's like having linear animations, or like, yeah, linear animations. It's like, so you're blocking it out. You're like, okay, I want this thing to go here, and then I want it to go here, and then I want it to go here. And you're just worrying about like just working on the, you know, the beats, the main parts to get to. And then after you're like, okay, that's the timing. Then you shut that down and you go into splines and you can edit those, be all cool. That's the formula. The workflow. I think. Not 100% sure, but I'm starting to see the light here. So each column represents one keyframe, which each row represents a single aspect of each keyframe. And then, for example, if you're animating a blur, then the keyframe row shows the frame each keyframe is positioned at. And the blur size show, yeah, so we just went over that, how that works. And then scaling and panning the timeline at the top, a series of zoom and control. Controls let you adjust the work area containing the layers. So it's same as the other one, right? You can use this. You can use control and the middle mouse scroll wheel, and do this one, which I think is good. Let's see if I go like that. But if I go like this, and then oh, okay. All right. This is for actually ordering the like which way these are displaying, this list here. Which again, I'm working on a larger display settings, but you'd probably usually have like a couple of these up. You could look through it. Hierarchy, names, and I guess reverse names. So the first will be zoom. I don't know what reverse is, and then types. You could do all of them here, or animated. Probably you want animated selected. Then if it's not animated, it won't show up and make this all messy. And for now, just I guess names. I don't know. Types, start, reverse, hierarchy. Yeah, so more ways of organizing stuff. Horizontal zoom, a zoom to fit button, a zoom to rectangle. Oh yeah, that's right. I was using that wrong. Press this. You go whoop, bloop, bloop. You could just go bloop, just bloop, just like that. And nothing happens. Ta-da. All right. Oops. Yay. Oh, that's another thing is I added Nightbot. Can I let that through? I don't know how to. Actually, I want to see. I want to see if I do exclamation song. No, that's not turned on. Wait, you got a warning for doing 3 emotes because the emote is in caps. Don't worry, I'll make sure that I'll talk to Nightbot after the stream. I'll let Nightbot know. Like, hey, cool. Michael's all right. He's cool. Chill, Nightbot. Yeah, I'll have a talk with Nightbot. Don't worry. And then we've got working with segments in the timeline. Most of the work in the timeline involves trimming and aligning clip segments. Nightbot, no. Don't worry. Nightbot, like Nightbot's kind of like rough around the edges when you're first getting to know him, but like, don't worry. I'll talk to him. He's cool. He's a nice robot. So most of the work in the timeline involves trimming and aligning clip segments. To select a single segment in the timeline, do one of the following. Click the node's name in the header. So segments, working with segments. What are segments? Most of the work in the timeline involves trimming and aligning clip segments. Okay, so they're calling these whole sections, I think, segments. Off that, I think like this to this is a segment they're calling it. And then to select a single segment in the timeline, do one of the following. Click the node's name in the header. So just from here, yeah, and it's selected. Or click the node's segment in the timeline. So if all of them were displayed here, I selected this. Oh, and I turn off animated. Then it will show up like that. But if animated is selected, because there's no, that's something to keep in mind. Like if you're trying to bring up, maybe. To add another segment to the selection, yeah, that's what we're talking about. Do one of the following. Hold Command and click additional segments to select discontiguous selections. Huh? Let's close spline. What? I'm doing something. I don't really know why or how I did that. Wait. Oh, I see. There is actually like a little thing that pops up. You can see that. Kind of hard to see, but it's like to show you selected all of them. I thought. What? Oh, and then you select outside of it, and it will do all of them. No, I'm a little still. So if it's what? So if I move it to the left, it will collapse it down because we're at 1 or we're at 0. But if it's here, it just scooches it over. Scooch. But how do you select? How do you? What? Oh. To add another segment, hold Command and click additional segments to select the discontiguous selections, and then select a segment, And then hold shift and click another segment to make a contiguous. So if we wanted to do this and this, okay, it's just like normal. You can press control and you get the ones that are not together, they're separated here. Then we can do that. So this, control, control, and holding control. Oh, oh, this doesn't make sense yet. I don't get it yet. There's more to this that we should probably figure out. I move that over and then this over. Okay, and then what? What? Maybe this is, I feel like we're doing it, but it's just not clicking though. It's probably one of those things that might make sense in the morning once we wake up tomorrow. And then to add a segment, to remove segments, you can hold command and click segment to deselect it. So same deal. Shift, and then I want to deselect that. Okay, we're doing that. And here's a tip: selecting a node's name from the timeline header also selects the node's tile in the node editor with its controls displayed in the inspector. Okay. So if you select that, or let's select this one, yeah, and then the inspector shows up and it also selects it in the nodes. And then moving segments, okay. Oh, here we go again. Here we go again. Just had to read a little bit more. Trimming segments. So trimming segments has different effects on loaders, media in, and effects nodes. So trimming a loader or media in node is similar to trimming clips in an editing application. So trimming a loader or media in is similar to trimming in an editing application, in that you're changing the in and out points of the range of the media that clip makes available to your composition. Okay, and we have a media in here. Why isn't it showing? Because it's not animated? Okay, so why isn't it going to it? Huh. Well, why would it show in? Why would it show up here? Let's do media in. Maybe we have to do a loader though. Let's say media in. And it's already been selected. Oh, they're here. Whoops. I could have sworn that wasn't there before. Or was I just missing it? Either way, for the example, they're just saying this is the same as just regular, changing how long it plays for. If we have this, if we bring this up, then there's nothing here, and it plays. Yeah, so it's just clipping it off, the start and end. It's off. And then here, we put this up, and it's the full thing. But trimming segments has different effects on loaders, media in, and effect nodes. So we just trimmed a loader, we just trimmed a media in node. Then trimming the segments of effect nodes instead modifies the range of the node's effect in the composition. Okay, so outside of the trimmed region, that effect node will behave as if it were disabled. Okay, so let's demonstrate that. So this was the effect from before. But I thought I had it like when I selected it, it would show up here. It would snap to it. Was that the setting I wasn't able to find before? Either way, we can trim it to I feel like this should showing just a little bit further down. Like this. Okay. But if we just trim it here, let's trim it to same deal, right? It just turns off when it ends. At the end of the clipping. So it's basically like it's disabled. That is good to know. We have so many parameters here. So just limit them to animated. These we could reset to what they were before, or the full length. Wait, how? What? Hold up. What? How? Oh, okay. All right. I don't know if that was a repeatable thing I just did, but whatever I did worked. Wait, if I do... Okay, moving on. Tip, shortening the duration of effects nodes can optimize processing. Imagine a loader or media in node that represents a clip that's 100 frames long and is connected to a defocus node that's animated from frames 80 to 100. There is little to no point in processing the defocus node between frames 0 to 79, so trimming and the defocus segment to start at frame 80 in the timeline will effectively prevent it from rendering and consuming either memory or processor time until needed. More optimization tips. So to trim a segment in the timeline, do the following. Drag on either end of the node segment in the timeline. The cursor changes to a vertical bar. We're playing around with that with a single arrow when the cursor is in the right location. Yep. And then holding the first or last frames. This is something, that's what I was confused about just now. If you want to hold a loader's first or last frame of a clip for a certain number of frames, nope, that's not what I was saying, but you can, also called the freeze frame, you can hold command while you drag beyond the first or last of the segment in the timeline. So they're talking about loaders, which is like basically you load, I believe that's for, actually we can see it here. We do a loader, it's meant for, where'd it go? What? Where's that going? Huh? Oh? Oh? What? Put a loader. Okay. So I don't know why that's not showing up anything. Well, a no loader. I didn't want a loader anyways. Not what we needed. It is, because it was just about like there was a thing on it I wanted to test. But I guess we can in here, if you go to settings, image, it was just a hold frame. You could just, there was a button on the loaders. What about the U loader? Oh, we don't have any USD files. Reload, out, in. I do think I think USD is the future of file formats for 3D stuff, but I don't know enough about it yet. But that's my hunch. And look at the time. let's take another 5-minute break. I'll be right back. Time for a break. BRB. Oh, I did that again. I came back and I set up the audio, or I set up the music, the Monstercat, and then I forgot to unmute myself. Classic. I gotta working on that. And then we've got drag and drop keyframe editing. So you can select it just like that, or you can select multiple like that, or you could shift click the first and last. Oh, okay. Actually, that's kind of... Okay. And then methods of adjusting. Do they also mean, what about this? Oh, so you can select keyframes that are... Can you see that down there? No, you can't. That's off screen. You can select this like that. You can also select just one. Oh. Select one and then control. You could have these two selected, and you can also select them in different sections. And then methods of adjusting keyframes. You can drag keyframes left and right to reposition them in time. You can right click one or more selected keyframes and use contextual menu commands to change keyframe interpolation. The keyframe, copy paste keyframes, or even create new ones. That's what we did earlier. You can right click and do time stretch. That's what I did before. That was really useful. But you could reverse it. Oh, if you want the default settings, you could use like linear or smooth from the keyframe section. So before I was like, oh, all you need to do is edit in the spline section. You don't need the keyframes. Now I'm like, oh, all you need is the keyframe section. You don't need the spline section. And there's hotkeys for this too. And then, so editing in the timeline, a drop down an editing key field at the bottom right of the keyframes editor lets you numerically edit the timing in frames of any. I gotta turn that down for myself, the music. Like vocals, it's kind of tricky for me. But I like to practice. I'd like to get better at this. Of any selected keyframe, making it easy to make a precise adjustments. To change the position of a keyframe using the toolbar, do one of the following: select the keyframes and then enter a new frame number in the time edit box. Choose T offset if you want to do it that way, or you could do T scale, which I think, I don't know if you're, it might have been one of the first episodes, but it was like you could go to T offset to go from here. You could go to wait, so let's go to 470, right? That's where that was. Where was that? 520? 520. Which frame is it? This is, oh, 495. And then if we do T offset, oh, it is written, it's 50. It's just in white text for some reason. Okay, so with, so T offset is better if you have a node, if you have a keyframe selected and you want to time offset this specific keyframe by a certain amount. And then there's time scale, which I think is just select, figure out how to select these, yeah. Then you could do time scale. And if you do 2, will be twice as long, which is useful. And you can also do a negative scale. Yeah. Yeah, and you can imagine like having a whole bunch of keyframes. And you can now quickly retime them properly instead of like exporting it and then doing the. This is just the proper way to retime it, rescale it, reverse it, whatever. And then the keyframe spreadsheet, yeah, we were looking at this before. If you turn on the spreadsheet and then click on the name of a layer in the keyframe editor, the numeric positions, yeah, we went through this. For example, if you're animating a blur, just like this, we had the angle show up. And then we have these. And if you type this in, you could get another one, right? Let's see. What if we do, actually, I want to see this. Plus 50. Yes. Oh, it just figured it out. It automatically filled that one out. So that's a cool way to do it too, as well. Plus 50. Minus 2. Although it's not showing it, is it? What if I put it to a different number? 1. Press enter. Then -1. So it gets less. Like that. I thought that would show up in here. No? Thought we'd be able to see this go like a little smaller. Some of these things, right? I'm almost convinced it's not me on some of this stuff, but whatever. Still kind of a noob at this, so let's not give ourselves the benefit of the doubt and just assume we're messing something up. That's okay. So there's the time stretching keyframes. If you select a range of keyframes in the keyframe track, you can turn on the time stretch tool. Now you right click and you do time stretch and you can modify these. Well, wait, hold up. I think there's something weird about this display. If I select this, you see that like the keyframes that I added, they are up here. They're showing as little dots here. But for whatever reason, they're not showing as this wave in here. I think that's a interface thing that's happening. That's weird with this. But anyways, they are there. They're showing up here. And if I go like this, I select all of them. And I can right click. It is on time restretch. So right click, time restretch, and it moves them all evenly. That's if you don't want to. Why would you use time restretch? What's the difference between time restretch and time offset or time scale? I guess time reset, you're just dragging it, and then time scale can get more precise. Like you could use numbers in time scale. Theory crafting. Time stretching keyframes. And then showing keyframe values. When a node and its accompanying segment have animated parameters, keyframes appear as colored tick marks in keyframe tracks to indicate when animated changes occur. If the tracks and splines are open on a parameter, choosing show keep values from the keyframe editor option menu. It shows editable fields beneath each keyframe. So choosing show values from the keyframes editor option menu. Frames editor option menu. Show values, and then I select one. Okay, let's get out of this. You see that? That is totally a visual bug that's happening right now. I used to have a previous version when I had my monitor display, like my computer monitor was set to 4K and everything was just tiny in like all my programs. There was this thing in here that whenever I tried to open this thing, it would just bug out the whole UI. So my point being that I really think this is like a visual bug that might be happening because we're messing around with, we're going through things at the UI display scale of 150. That's what happened before. I really do think that's a bug, but let's see. Okay, so now with the, see that? Like what? Hold on. So the values show up here though at the bottom, because in the section here I turned on show values. That's kind of useful, isn't it? I feel like that might be a setting that you might want. It depends if you're just kind of reading the. Well, it's especially useful if the UI bugs out, because then you can just rely on this. But I think usually it doesn't bug out, and you might prefer to look at the keyframes, how they go in this type of thing. But if you want, you can turn on the show values and these will pop up. And then timeline filters. When a composition grows to include hundreds of nodes. I tried to Google like enormous, I Googled like giant Davinci Resolve Fusion node tree. Couldn't find one, but this is talking about a composition with hundreds of nodes. Locating specific node layers can quickly become difficult. Timeline filters can be created and applied to sift out nodes that are not necessary to the current operation. So you can add filters to take out these nodes. Oh yeah, that's what we were doing before. Like turning on just the animated ones is very useful. There's this YouTube channel called Pirates of Confusion. The videos are super outdated, but the node trees were pretty crazy, as far as I remember. I want to check that out later. Pirates of Confusion node trees. I'll check that out later. You can do these filters in here, and then you can create a timeline filter. So choose create/edit filters from the keyframes editor, and you can create your own filter. And so this is where you can create new timeline filters and click a new button and then setting the filters. So you can create filters to sift through stuff, I guess. Okay, let's read this. Let's skim through it. I'm trying to cheat and just skip it, but let's read it. Put it in way back in our minds, I guess. So choose create/edit filters from the keyframes editor. option menu to open the timeline panel of the Fusion settings window. This is where you can create new timeline filters. And then click the new button, enter a name for your new filter setting, and click OK. Use the settings for filters list to turn on the checkboxes of nodes you want to be seen, and turn off the checkboxes of nodes you want to filter out. It's like basically using the find function. So each category of node can be turned on and off, or you can open up categories disclosure control to turn individual nodes on and off. Clicking invert all immediately turns off all node categories. And then when you're finished creating filters, click the save and hide it. And filters that you've created in the timeline panel of the Fusion settings window appear in the keyframes editor option menu. And then to delete a filter, you can just delete it. Selecting filters, selected filtering, choosing show only selected tools from the keyframes editor option menu filters out all segments except for layers corresponding to selected nodes. This option can be turned on and off. And then here's a tip: when show only selected tools is enabled, you can continue to select nodes in the node editor to update what's displayed in the keyframes editor. Show only selected. And then sorting in the timeline, you can change the order in which the nodes are displayed from top to bottom. Yep, we were kind of looking through that. The tree item, something is wrong. Uh-oh. What? I'm scared. What's wrong here? Oh, you can't see. Oh wait, no. Oh, with the show only selected? Is this another? I think that's possible. I think it's because I know. I think these little bugs that are popping in are from. Again, I think it is because we've got the UI display scale changed. I think that has like I said previously, there was bugs that I saw that was being caused by that. But I think it's probably still that. And the tree item order menu. So, but yeah, no, I hear you though. I think that makes sense though. If you have that on and then you select something, it will only show the selected tool. Yeah, it wasn't even going to the node in the editor. I haven't done any like customization. Maybe I should need to like reset the controls. Can I do that here? Workspace, workspace, and then we go to reset UI layout. If I did that, would I lose my bins? Wait, where are they anyways? Where are my smart bins? Where'd they go? Oh, did I lose them? I just did a small update. It was like from 18, whatever version this is, version 18.5.002 or whatever. I just updated, like it was just a tiny increment, but I think that might have lost my smart bins, which that's kind of stupid. I thought they persisted. I'll have to look into that. See, they weren't like built out. I was was just getting started. I'm like, I knew I was trying to get started with those and like organize it for the videos that I'm working on, and like, if I did have them, I could probably just set those back up and then back them up somehow. But I want to look into that. Look into smart bins, question mark. Where'd they go? Where'd they go? Gone from the update, question mark? The tree item order menu. The tree item order menu. Right-clicking over any track on the keyframe editor will display a context menu that contains the tree item order selection submenu. Choosing start from the submenu allows you to start numbering each item in the track header by clicking on them. What? What is this talking about? The first item you click will be number 1. The second item, number 2, number 3, so on. Once you have selected all the items in the order you want them to be organized in the keyframes editor, right-click over a track, and from the tree item order selection submenu, choose end. Okay, and then the items will be ordered using the assigned numbers, with 1 appearing above 2 and 3, so on. The first items in the keyframe track list will always be the nodes that are the root of the node tree. The numbered nodes will appear in order after the root nodes. For example, if the node tree starts with a background node and then connects to a fast noise, blur, and then a color corrector, the background node will always appear at the top of the keyframe editor track list because it is the root node. If you begin numbering nodes in the track header and change your mind or decide on a different order, you can choose a restart to begin numbering again. So it's just about, so you can manually, oh, that's showing up now. I think that's working now, right? Yeah. All right. But that was saying if you wanted to manually organize settings? No, what was it? Set render range? Was it render range? The tree item order. Right-clicking over any track will give you a menu that contains the tree item order selection. Item order selection. Tree item order selection. Tree item order selection. Here we go. 1. Oh. Oh. What? What? 111? One, 2, 3. What? So it's doing a 1. So I'm doing this wrong. But I don't even know what this is for. Is it for like organization? Oh, no. If there's multiple keyframes in here, oh, it's just for, I get it. If you have a whole bunch of keyframes and you want to organize them inside of a certain one node, you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then this will go to the bottom, right? And yeah, yay! Cool. So with a bunch of keyframe parameters, you can set it. Hey, that's pretty useful. Like if No, that is a good thing to know. Because there's a lot of times that you have parameters that really they're like being edited together, or they rely on each other. So you want them close on the timeline to view them and compare. I wonder if that changes it. So line spacing on the bottom, did that change it for the spline editor? Or is that the same? Does the spline editor? I think it does, right? Yeah, that moved the justify. No. So these aren't updated. That's a little confusing, actually. Do you see what I'm saying? Line spacing. No. Oh, sorry. They are updated. And just to double make sure, let's test that again. Say, let's put this at the top. And the last thing will be V anchor, whatever. This doesn't matter. The top one is anchor, and the bottom is V anchor. And then end. And those updated, right? I actually didn't see it happen, but it looks right. Did that update? Yeah, that's right. Okay, let's do just this on the top now. So H justify. I don't think it did. Yeah, no, I didn't see this change. So this should flip it. This should flip it, okay? And I'm watching over here as well. No. So that doesn't update it. So all right. That's kind of stupid, but whatever. You know, I do think possibly that's, again, like not the point of the spline editor. Like, that's for a reason, probably. Like, the keyframes are when you're setting these things up, and when you want them and you're comparing it. And then the spline is really supposed to be for just like getting that curve, you know, dat curve. So the tree item order, so you can reorder the keyframes within a node. How they're displayed in the keyframes section. And then we got the sort menu. Yes, we looked at that. Was there any that we weren't sure about? There's the hierarchy. What was hierarchy? Sorts with the most background layers at the top of the header through to the most foreground layers at the bottom, following the connections of the nodes in the node tree, in the node editor. What? I didn't hear anything I just said. So sorts with the most background layers at the top. The most background layers at the top of the header through to the most foreground layers at the bottom. Following the connections of the nodes in the node editor. Oh, okay. So that's dependent on this. So at the end of the node tree is the renderer. So we could do hierarchy, turn off the splines. We do hierarchy, go to hierarchy. Or does it need to be like this? Oh, none of these are. I don't get the hierarchy one. That still don't. I really am still struggling with the controls for like how to look at the keyframes section here. Close those up. Either way, let's continue though. You can rearrange the keyframes, how they're displaying in this through here. And then if we have the markers, actually, I didn't know you could do markers in the Fusion. Markers help identify important frames in a project that might affect how you keyframe animation. They may indicate the frame where a dragon breathes fire at a protagonist, the moment that someone passes through a portal, or any other important frame in a composition that you need to keep track of. Markers added to the timeline in the cut, edit, fairlight, or color page will appear in the keyframe editor and spline editor of the Fusion page. They can also be added from the keyframes editor or the spline editor. While working in the Fusion page, markers in Fusion appear as a small handle with a line extended vertically through the graph. So add marker, that's it. Just right click, add marker, and it goes through. And this will appear on here, like that. Same deal here. You add it as an add marker. Oh, we can pick the color though. Mint. And let's see. And here it is. We can't choose a mint marker here. Just a blue marker. All right. And then to create a marker, oh, we just did that. And then the most important attribute of a marker is its position. For it to add value, a marker must be placed on the frame you intended it to be on. Hovering the cursor over a marker displays a tooltip with its current frame position. If it is on the wrong frame, you can drag it along the time ruler to reposition it. Markers added to the time ruler are editable in the Fusion page, and the changes appear back in the other Davinci Resolve pages. Time rulers, markers can be added, moved, deleted, renamed, and given descriptive notes from within Fusion's keyframe or spline editor. And then note, markers attached to clips in the edit page timeline are visible on media in nodes in Fusion's keyframes editor, but not editable. They are not visible in the spline editor. So, wait. Oh, because we're not on a media in? Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. Can't select it. But I can select it here. Wait. I was just selecting it. Oh, there we go. What? What? Oh. There we go. I got it. What? What? I think that's also a bug. I don't think you're supposed to select it. I don't know. Whatever. Anyways, keyframes. They exist. They're very useful for lining up stuff, important moments. No, yeah, I think I blame myself, okay? I blame user error. Especially by episode 8, yeah, that's still user error territory. Once we get to like episode 20 or so, then it's gonna start for then for sure it's gonna be Davinci Resolve's issue, but for now, it's probably just me. And then jumping to markers, double clicking a marker jumps the playhead to that marker's position. And then renaming markers. The default marker uses the frame numbers in its name. Oh yeah. Oh. Something cool happens. Amaze moment. Mamat. And then you can see that. And I'll give you a heads up that something amaze happens. But that's a amaze moment. and then the show markers list. Yep, that's where I just went. You can either get there by choosing the show markers list or pressing Shift G if you want. Marker list is a floating dialog that will remain on top of the main window until closed. Actually, I didn't know that. So if I just start, oh, yeah, look at that. And then there's a pair of checkboxes besides the names of each marker. Or if it's a for what? One is for the spline editor and one is for the keyframes editor. By default, markers are shown in both the spline editor and keyframes editor, but you can deselect the appropriate checkbox to hide the markers in that view. So if you get, let's go back to that, Shift G, and I'll turn them off. Oh, okay. So if you just want them to not be there, that's how you can turn them off from the viewer. All right, and then deleting markers, you can delete a marker by dragging it up beyond the time ruler and releasing the mouse. I think. Yes, perfect demonstration. And then there's auto snap to help with precisely positioning keyframes and to start and end of segments as you drag in the timeline. You can have them snap to a field, a frame, or to markers. The auto snap option is accessed through the options menu in the keyframe editor context menu. In here, there is a... Is there? Where is it? Right click. Options? Auto snap. Okay. So you could have stuff snap to the markers, but it's actually on by default. So it will kind of like snap to it. The auto snap option is accessed through the options section in the keyframes editor context menu. There are two sub-menu options for auto snapping. One option controls the snapping behavior when you drag keyframes, control points, or the starting and ending edges of segments. The other option controls the snapping behaviors of markers. Okay. And auto snap points when you drag keyframes or the edges of segments. Often you want them to fall on a specific frame. Auto snap restricts the placement of keyframe and segment edges to frame boundaries by default, but you have other options found in the context menu. You configure auto snapping on keyframes and segment edges, right click, go to options, auto snap points. This will display the auto snap points submenu with options for the snapping behavior. The options are none, frame, field, and field is field forces keyframes and segment edges to snap to the nearest field, which is half of a frame. Frame forces keyframes and segment edges to snap to the nearest frame. And then guides, when enabled, the keyframe and segment edges snap to markers. Okay. All right, and then there's auto snap markers and the spreadsheet editor, more about that. The spreadsheet editor is, wait, what was this? Auto snap, okay, markers, yeah, snap to markers and stuff. The spreadsheet editor is a separate panel that can be displayed beneath the keyframes editor. We kind of took a peek at that before. And then you can select a node to edit. And then it will populate like before, go like this, open it up, you get the keyframes there. And you can, here's a tip, entering a frame number using a decimal point allows you to set keyframes on a subframe level to create more natural animations. I don't know if subframes are a thing in Premiere and After Effects. I don't know if subframes, or if that's a Davinci Resolve thing. I know that subframe, I mean, that's like, I wanna get into audio driven visuals, that type of stuff. And I know being able to set keyframes on subframes, meaning instead of like frame 10, it's frame 10.25, is really, it's key. Like, you need that for the animation to look proper, especially when it's like synced with audio. But I just don't know if that was a thing that was possible in Premiere and After Effects and I missed it, or if that's a unique thing to Davinci Resolve. But inserting keyframes, you can also add new keyframes to an animation by clicking in an empty keyframe cell and entering the desired time for the new keyframe. Using the cell under the new keyframe, you can enter the value. Yep, you can add another one, 600. It's like that, so easy, and it works perfectly. Okay, no. Did you have to press enter? No, seriously, you have to press enter? Okay. And that did show up. And if we do that, yeah, cool, now it's working. And select all those. You can could have pressed this and smooth the hotkey S. So we don't even have to go into the spline editor if you want the default Bezier curve here. And then selecting multiple nodes to edit. They can be edited together. Oh, by default, selecting a new parameter in the timeline header will replace the parameter and keyframes currently listed in the spreadsheet editor. Holding down Command, you can click on additional parameters on different nodes to add them to the spreadsheet. I need another keyframe parameter here. This one, right? We had an animation on this. But if I have this and this, this and, oh, here we go. Right? Oh, no. That's what they're showing, is that you can load up multiple. Yeah, of course, but that's good to see. That's how you're supposed to use it. Is have multiple keyframes here. And then let's see if I literally press, if we get this one, but then is there another thing in here that we were animating? Now that's selected. So keyframe the zoom blur, that's what we're looking at. Oh, we want this. We want this. That's the thing, but then we want to see what it looks like when there's a different parameter, when it's comparing a different parameter. Okay, no, so you can really compare, again, it's like for a single node, you can load up all the different parameters to compare, but you can't like compare a different effect with a different node. You can't compare between nodes on this. That's where it's kind of limited, I guess. But you can load up a bunch of parameters in the same node, but not all the way down. Oh wait, no, you can. What? I just. Yeah, that's it, right? Yeah, it is. Okay, so that's all you got to do is just select the ones that you want, and you can also do, like before, you can do control. Okay, so you can load up as many as you want, I guess. That's good to know. And so probably being on top of that and being like, okay, I want to compare this to this and see it in spreadsheet format, or you could see it in for this, or you could see, yeah, okay, all right. It's all crucial stuff, I think. So yeah, crucial stuff. A lot of reading today. Too bad that we didn't. Let's be real. I feel like things will only get better, but every day we might not have like a super big brain animation by the end. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that point where like it's every single day we're just like, bam, super awesome render, and we're just like firing them off. But for today, there was a lot of reading. I think, man, yeah, this is like figuring out how to really use the keyframes section. I didn't actually know. You don't know till you know, I guess. And then yeah, markers, all that good stuff. The workflow fix, and putting the text into the merge 3D. Oh, we weren't able to get the carbon fiber texture connected with the text. I thought it would be like in the shading or the material. Use one material. If we turn that off, oh, okay. Well, it's about that time. And I've got plans tomorrow, so tomorrow is off, unfortunately. But I will be back on Saturday and Sunday. And there's been so much here. I feel like maybe a day away is gonna help get us like, you know, a moment to breathe and let our big brain kind of settle for the next stage. So nice chatting with you. Nice seeing you, Michael. If anybody's watching the replay, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sticking around. And we will pick this up on Saturday. So we can rest our big brains for a few days. Maybe you want to go start, I don't know, experimenting with some things that we've been over. I feel like we're getting close to the like understanding the whole workflow, the layout of the Fusion page. We can take a quick peek. Yeah. I feel like that's one benefit of this is like more or less we're just hanging out. We're just hanging out inside a Davinci Resolve Fusion. It's like making it much more of a manageable experience when you go through every single thing. It's like, oh, okay. Like, oh, I've seen everything. I've been through all these buttons. It's not as like, I don't know. I feel like when I'm first in the program, it's kind of like tunnel vision-y because you don't know what any of the buttons are. You're not familiar with anything. And I'm just like, oh. And so now it's starting to be like, okay. And then pretty soon, it's gonna be, we're gonna be like this. We're just gonna open up Fusion, and it's just gonna be like, we're just gonna know. Yeah, Blender. Yep. Same thing. It's just like there's so many buttons and there's like different side views, and but so this is just like hanging out in the program and getting familiar with it, soaking it in, and pretty soon, and like figuring out the node structure tree. I think I'm gonna do some more research into that myself, because I'm still like tripping over this part where it's like we plug this into this, but this into this, and this into this. Although I think the I think this goes into that. I think we're gonna read through all of that stuff in depth. We go to the 3D nodes section. Yeah. So like after we get through the fundamentals, then we get into like inspecting each and every single little like, oh my god. So like how to plug in and how to use each of these different nodes. Oh my god. Our brains are gonna be so big. That's exciting. I think I don't know. I was thinking about that today. How much do you want to read from the manual? I kind of do want to just like, maybe I'll figure out how to read faster out loud, but I do want to go through it as a way of like literally structuring the stream. But I do think there is probably going to be a change in the format, maybe sooner than later, where it's like maybe for the last hour or so we try to make something, or like for the first hour it might turn into a thing where like for the first hour it's reading this to like warm up and like get into the flow of things, you know. Like it's a good way to start learning. It's like you read about a section of the manual. It's a good starting point. But then once we get better, which I think can, hopefully it's going to be pretty soon, we'll want to like make some cool stuff or like apply the thing that we're reading. But then the problem with that is that all of a sudden we're basically getting through like 1 page a day, which means the 1600 pages is going to take forever to get through. You see the predicament here, because I do want to get through this. I want to finish, or at least skim through everything. But yeah, it's just hard to say at this point. I mean, who knows? Maybe it's like starts to be like, okay, we read this, and then we can read through this, and then we can read through well, this is like a huge one. This, and then we like pick two of the three or something to try and implement. But yeah, that's I was thinking of that today. I was like, And also, you know, I could change the monster. Again, I was thinking about that today. It was like with the Monstercat records, turn on some of the like the bangers, you know, and start making some cool stuff to some music and see what happens, where we end up after an hour of like sort of going with the flow, you know. But I know I'm not at that point yet. I'm not like, if we put on music, I would just like it'd be too much at this point. But I think in the future, maybe after a week or so more, we'll start being a little more confident with like exploring out in that way. But today, where did we end up? We were in Fusion Fundamentals 60 or 70. It was like 1380. No, the spreadsheets and the working in the timeline. So where did we end up? We were at like, I think it was 1400 around here. No, it was a little more, wasn't it? 1408. Oh yeah, we were going fast today. Okay, not there. I think it was here. Yeah, 1407. Okay. I'm gonna take a note of that. Oh, it really wasn't that much actually. It was 1407. It was only like 22 pages? Really? God. All right. Seriously? We only got through 22 pages. Damn. This whole time I was like, okay, man, we're really locked in. We're like reading so fast. Holy. All right. Guess so. Maybe we need a day off anyways to just like chill and like regroup. Felt like a lot. I know it really did for me too. But yeah, maybe a day away is gonna help reset things. Anyways, thanks for hanging out. I will be back in a day or in 2 days. Peace.